Hi, I'm Abby and I'm running for Democracy and Education Co-Pres.
Hi Abby, thank you for joining me. Why are you running for Democracy and Education President position?
I have worked in the rep system and in the Democratise SOAS campaign, and I've found a lot of insights and information about how democracy is run and how representation works within the union and within the management. And I've gained a lot of experience from this, and I want to expand this into the whole union to include all students and all departments, not just the selective ones with active reps. I want it to come from the union, and I really, really want everyone to feel like they're represented and have a really inclusive union.
So what one policy would you like to introduce that could be your legacy?
I would really like to have all part-time officers having office hours within the student space, and this would mean that whether someone turns up or not, it gives them specific hours or hour to sit down, deal with emails related, sort out Facebook, social media, so there's a contact point for people, so it's not just who you know and whether you know who the officers are, but you have a real structure that you can contact with, so you're not just, putting things on the internet and getting really frustrated, so that you can really feel like it's accessible. So I'd really love that.
I went around the campus yesterday to ask students if they had any questions for you, the candidates. Would you like to pick a number, 1 to 5?
2.
2. How are you going to make the UGM not just a platform for the loudest people at SOAS?
I think the real problem with the UGM is how it's advertised and the kind of framing of it. It's not the process itself. I know in the past people have said it needs to be online to be inclusive, but what I think is the way you frame it needs to be inclusive. So really making people understand what a motion is and explaining really carefully how to write it, running workshops in it in Freshers Week so people understand what this body is and how it's followed up by exec. But also in terms of communication, we need to have it everywhere. We need to have it really promoted so people know what the issues are that are coming up, and whether they check their email or not, they see what's happening so they feel included if they want to come and speak. And it's also a matter of facilitation. I'd really like to get a set facilitation standard so when people turn up it doesn't change every single time, you're not confused. So whether you're coming in new or old, it's always explained every single time what's going on.
So just on the idea of online platforms for the UGM, I understand from David East, I was speaking to him the other day, that that's a policy that they're looking to introduce from next year with their new website. Do you think it's worth doing then, or do you think these other areas that you've just talked about are more important?
I think it's definitely worth investigating. It's something that's been really discussed a lot in the past and this year too. I think it's something that we really need to get student consultation on, because when you're talking about it as an idea, whereas it becoming a real policy, there is a very kind of shift of realism there. I'm not against it going online, but I think that it would need to be a really, really established, well-managed system. And I don't feel like in 1 year we can achieve that, given what's happened this year with the website, and we've only had a communications paid staff member for a year. I think it's something that we should definitely start investigating, looking at other comparisons from other unis, where it's worked, where it hasn't worked, just to get an idea of what we're essentially diving into. So I am really for the new website. I'm really excited for it to come up. I think it's a great idea and it should have been happening for absolutely ages. It's brilliant that that's happening. But in terms of going online this next year, I think that we need to have a longer consultation period of students and also look at, its shortcomings and as well as its positives.
So David East has some questions for you as well. What would you do to improve the accountability process for elected officials?
Yeah, I think this is, a really, really good question, and it's key to the functioning of our union. In terms of accountability, I think that we need to have, regular updates on what's going on behind the scenes, because they do a lot of work for students, but isn't visible for students. And some people might find this boring and not want to know anything about it and just be happy that someone's doing it for them. But I think we need to make it visible, the kind of things that SABs are facing with management, with faculties, with students. And if we explain to them what we're doing and why we're doing it, say on an online forum, like the great election pages, say we had one for each officer, you could kind of do, a kind of Twitter of what you're up to. And that would really help people understand what your role is and also how you can help them. So that would be the sabbatical officers. The part-time officers, again, I would really love for them to have office hours and for them to speak, to be able to submit reports at the UGM, whether they're verbal or not, written or not, it's up to the individual. but I just think making them as visible as possible will increase accountability, because people will recognise and be like, oh, can I talk to you about the ethical finances to the green officer or to Heather, and just, you know, making them have a better presence than they have had in the past.
So can you describe yourself in 3 words? Like, what makes you the best candidate for this job?
I think I'm really accessible. So, you know, sorry.
That's good.
Accessible because I've been integrated with the system for a long time. I know how it works, and I know like how to simplify things for people, how they can talk to me, and like what the barriers are between that. But also I think my organisation is my real strength, you know. Some people have told me I have OCD, but it's something that you really need to be in a SAB, because you have a massive workload and you have to be able to manage your time effectively to serve the students. And finally, I think I'm quite friendly. I'd like to think I always make an effort to like smile and say thank you to the bus driver, which is, you know, a small thing, but it can be like a real like lifeline to people when they need that, you know, just a friendly face. So
Thank you for joining me, Abby. Thanks.
thank you.